Brittany. How are you?
So good. How are you doing today?
I am good, thank you.
Yay, thank you so much for doing this today. We are so pumped.
Yay! Well, I'm really excited too.
It's going to be a good topic, and we have a good turnout for today as well. We've had quite a few people sign up, so it is a great start for
That
our
doesn't make
financial
me
wellness
nervous.
month. You're going to do great.
Well, I'll just dive right in.
All right,
Welcome,
let's do it.
everybody. We have Talia here from Mountain America Credit Union to talk to you all about money and the brain, the why behind the what with finances. This is our first workshop for January's Financial Wellness Month. We're excited to dedicate a whole month to finances, especially after this crazy holiday season where your pockets probably are feeling it, right? And so we want to replenish and get everybody set for the new year and get their cash in order. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Talia. She has served Mountain America members since 2016. In her current role as a bilingual financial education manager, she helps members achieve their financial goals through educational presentations, tools, and resources. Prior to joining the financial ed department, Talia was an assistant manager in the consumer loan area, and the expertise gained from this position is frequently put to use for educating members. Born in Mexico and raised in Midvale, Utah, Talia is currently pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration Management at Western Governors University. She enjoys serving as a chair at her local elementary school community council, and during her free time, Talia loves spending quality time with her husband, her son, and poodle mix Rio. All right, I'll just turn the time over to you. And if our participants, if you have any questions throughout, throw them in the chat and we'll pass them along.
Perfect. No, thank you for mentioning that. Before I begin, I do have to just note the number of participants we have. It looks like we're at 45. Sadie or Brittany, if we get over that, just let me know, please. At the end, it's fine. One of the first things I would like to ask is, as I'm going through my presentation, I don't know if it's going to ping me every time there's a chat question or not, but if I do miss one, please feel free to just shout it out or say, hey, we have a question or we have a comment here. I love to get comments. So I'll dive right in. The presentation I have for you guys today is Money and the Brain. Here we will talk about the why behind the what with finances. So with that, I'm going to start with the first question, and it is, how many of you have budgeted? I know that's a very strong word, so I like to use spending plan. Have created a spending plan and stuck to it for, let's say, at least 1 month. How about 3 months, maybe? Maybe 1 month was too short. Yes, okay, perfect. Well, I'm hoping that after this presentation, you either start to build a spending plan, or if you are already have a spending plan, that hopefully we're able to stick to that spending plan for more than 3 months, right? Creating a spending plan, started but didn't stick to it, right? It's hard. It's hard. And here's the thing, guys, it's not going to happen overnight, right? I've been in the financial industry for 5 years now, and there's sometimes times that I struggle, right? And it's not going to be as black and white as we hope it would be. Okay. So after the end of this presentation, I'm hoping that you can at least take one thing and apply it to your spending plan or start a spending plan. Okay. Let's see. There we go. So let's start off with the representation of money, right? First, a long time ago, when we first started, we were exchanging goods and services for goods and services, right? And then post World War II, every dollar that we printed was backed by money, or sorry, was backed by gold, right? $35 per ounce to be exact. But then in 1971, Ronald Reagan changed that. He said, nope, we're not doing that anymore. We are going to give the value of money to the government that issues it, right? So that's why the value of a dollar here is different than the value of a dollar in Mexico or, Colombia or wherever we're at, right? Why? Why is that the case? The reason for that is because the value of money varies, right? It goes up and down all the time. The value that I put on money or the perception that I have on money is going to be different than the perception that Brittany may have for money or the perception that Sadie might have for money, okay? So let's start with this quote. Let's start with this quote, okay? This quote is from my very good friend, Warren Buffett, that I have totally met and, had dinner with. He said, before I go into the quote, for those of you that are not familiar with Mr. Buffett, he is one of the best investors. I think when I looked him up last, it was towards the beginning of December, he was at $102.1 billion. That's his net worth, right? So he's a very smart and wealthy man. So he said to invest, and then for the purpose of this presentation, budget or plan successfully over a lifetime, you don't need a very high IQ. You don't need unusual business insights or information. What is needed is a sound intellectual framework for making those decisions and the ability to keep our emotions from corroding that framework. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you guys? Don't panic. Yeah. Yes, very good. Don't panic. So it means we often make not very smart decisions because we're in a panic, right? Or because don't buy under emotions. Yeah, that's a really good one. Or because we are don't want to miss out on a sale. We're like, oh, I have to have this, right? I have to have this, cutest shoes, or I have to have this, I'm a big Bath and Body Works. I have to have this next new candle, right? That's why sometimes we make poor decisions because we let our emotions get in the way of making those financial decisions, okay? So, how do we go about building a framework that prevents us from building or from making our financial decisions with our emotions? We're going to be creating that framework through cognitive dissonance, brains and decisions. Here we'll talk about how our brains work and why we make certain decisions. Cognitive tools, we'll discuss heuristics, which are mental shortcuts that we may have, and biases. Those are very important. Then values alignment. Here we'll talk about why it's important to start with our values versus automatically starting with a goal. Okay. And then we'll wrap it up with talking about emotional control. Okay, so cognitive dissonance. So here, let's start off with asking a question. Who of my audience plays a piano or any type of musical instrument? No? That's all right. Yes, we have one. Yes. All right. So usually when we're playing any instrument or the piano, we're talking about dissonance is the lack of harmony, right? If you're hearing somebody play the piano, you're most likely going to be able to pinpoint when you hear the clash of harmony or when they hit the wrong note, right? How does that and here we have my good friend, he's starting to play the piano and then he hit the wrong note, so he's like, yikes, right? How does that relate to the financial context? That relates to cognitive dissonance. It's the state of having inconsistent thoughts, beliefs, or attitude, especially relating to how we make our decisions. Okay. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, it's fairly the beginning of the month, right? And I am going to write down, I want to pay off my credit card by the end of this month. Okay, that's an attitude or a goal or something that I'm thinking I want to do. Okay, and then I'm scrolling through my emails and Bath and Body Works sale, 40% off, right? And instead of, well, I said I was going to pay off my credit card, but this sale is a must. I don't know if it's going to happen again. There's limited supply. So you what was I'll come back to that comment in a little bit. So instead of holding back a little bit and saying, okay, well, I stated I was going to pay off my credit card this month. As soon as the clock hits 5 and I'm out of work, I'm at Bath and Body Works racking my credit card again. Okay, that's a clash of thoughts or beliefs or attitudes that we said, needs versus wants. Exactly. So that would tell us that the first thought that I had was to pay my credit card, but instead I went and did another purchase and added to that balance versus bringing the balance down, right? What are some of the cognitive dissonance examples that you guys may have?
In the chat, they said that when it comes to the sale, you can't say, look how much I saved by buying all of this stuff that was on sale.
Yes.
When it's on clearance. So.
Yes, right. There's that perception of, hey, it's on sale. It has to be a good deal, right? But in reality, is it? If something was, I don't know, $100 and now it's $99, right? Is that really a sale? Is that really going to save us money, right? Let's think about that. Brains and decisions. Let's see what this video can show us. Can you guys hear that?
No, we can't hear
the word emotion.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Let us think of love, hate, happiness, or fear. Those strong feelings we experience throughout life. Our emotions are the driving force behind many of our behaviors, helpful and unhelpful. Just where do our emotions come from? Our brain is wired to look for threats or rewards. If one is detected, the feeling region of the brain alerts us through the release of chemical messages. Emotions are the effect of these chemical messages traveling from our brain through the body. When our brain detects a potential threat, our brain releases the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol, which prepare us for a fight or flight response. When we detect or experience something rewarding, such as someone doing something nice for you, our brain releases dopamine, oxytocin, or serotonin. These are the chemicals that make us feel good and motivate us to continue on the task or behavior. In these instances, the feeling region of the brain kicks in before the thinking part. Sometimes the reactions of the feeling brain are so strong that it dominates our behaviors and we're unable to think rationally in the moment. Our emotions hijack our brain. While many of our emotional responses happen subconsciously, our thinking can influence our emotions, and sometimes this can be unhelpful. Just thinking about something threatening can trigger an emotional response. This is where we can manage our emotions with conscious thinking. Our emotions play a powerful role in the way we experience the world. Understanding and regulating our emotions through our thoughts and behaviors can help us take greater control of our brain and achieve our goals.
Perfect. So with that, what do you guys think is a threat to your finances? Illness. Yeah, absolutely. An illness, right? We don't necessarily plan to get sick. HOA fees. Yeah. Emergencies. Absolutely. Those can, loss of employment, 100%. That can definitely be a threat to our finances. Some things that we don't necessarily plan for, right? Yeah, please feel free to unmute yourself. 100%. Yes, please. How about a reward? What could be a reward for your finances? Oh, Brittany or Sadie, it says that they can't unmute.
Let me play around with it. This is the first time we've done an event rather than a meeting.
Oh, okay.
So let's see here.
Not worrying about money, a work bonus. Yeah, absolutely. That can definitely be a reward. Yeah. How about the fact that you're able to stick to your spending plan, right? And instead of being 5 days next to our next paycheck, we actually still have money, right, in our checking account versus like, uh-oh, there, I don't get paid for another 5 days and I only have, $5 in my account. I think it's very important to remember that we need to be able to plan until our next paycheck, right? To make sure we're covered. Having a rainy day fund, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Those are very good. Thank you guys for sharing. So understanding emotions and how it relates to our finances. So what we have is unconscious emotion, right? Which is the wanting to act very fast. And what we refer that to is our caveman brain, okay? What do you guys notice that my caveman friend here, his behaviors or action from the picture here? What are some things that you guys notice? Instant gratification. Yeah, that first one was a little bit too fast for me to read.
We've got seems defensive, fight or flight.
Yes, yes, yes. He doesn't look in control of his emotions, 100% right on. So yeah, he's defensive, right? He's ready to hit his target, whether it's something that's coming at him or something that is perceived as a threat or reward, right? Yeah. When we're making decisions with our finances and we're doing it with our caveman brain, it's going to be fast, involuntary, and associative. Impulse. Yeah, impulse buying, right? That's a thing. What do we mean by associative? That means that I'm going to most likely react to the same situation that I'm presented if I have been presented with that situation in the past, how I reacted to that same situation in the past, right? We're going to say, hey, I reacted this way in the past. It seemed to work. We're going to be just fine. What are some examples of those type of situations when it comes to our finances? I'll start off with one. An example of that would be, hey, I never created a spending plan. I've always managed to make ends meet one way or another, right? Because my unconscious emotions was able to think fast, and if I needed, to get paid, to get something paid, it was fast. I was able to, just be able to do it. But did it affect my other utility bills, let's say, or other bills, right? What are some examples that you guys have for unconscious or caveman brain decisions with your finances? Another example that I have is actually one of my weaknesses that I'm trying to work on. Right, crumble when I get those emails or those notifications, or as I'm scrolling through my social media and I see them marketing the next delicious cookie. I'm like, I gotta try that cookie. I have like water in my mouth and I'm like, yes, let's let's go get some crumble. How about our rational brain? On the other hand, we have our rational brain. So our rational brain is where we make conscious thinking. So what is different here from my rational brain friend that is different from my caveman friend? Yeah, it looks like he's taking the time to think it through. He's pondering, steady. Yeah, 100%. I feel like he's ready, right? Because he has a compass here, and then I'm hoping he has tools and resources. I unsubscribe from the email. Yeah. Sometimes it's okay, too many emails, too tempting. I'm just going to unsubscribe. Absolutely. We're hoping that in his backpack, he has tools and resources that are able to help him should he be in an emergency, right? So in our rational brain, this is where we do our conscious thinking. It's going to be slow, control, and we're even going to follow rules that we followed in the past, right? So going back to my Bath and Body Works email, if I am, making this decision with my rational brain is going to tell me, okay, let's slow down. Okay, Talia, you have 3 candles in your closet that are still brand new. Do you really need more? Is it, how long are these candles going to last, right? So with that, with our rational brain, my rational brain will tell me, okay, based on the patterning behavior of Bath and Body Works, I'm pretty certain there's going to be another sale. So what I could do is start budgeting for that, or start adding that to my spending plan, right? Whether that's $10, $20 that I'm putting aside for the next sale, that's still going to make a difference. And you're not going to make that decision with your caveman brain. You're now going to be able to switch that around and make that decision with your rational brain, right? What are other examples that you guys may have on conscious or rational brain decision when it comes to finances? How about investing? With investing, do we want to make decisions with our rational brain when investing, or with our caveman brain?
Rational.
Yes, 100%. Rational brain, because we're wanting to, like that saying goes, buy low, sell high, right? So we're going to want to make that decision slow. We're going to want to follow rules or statistics, right, that we've heard about in the past. Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to cognitive tools. Cognitive tools are either heuristics or biases, okay? Heuristics is a really long word that I remember when I first had this presentation, I had to Google it because I'm like, what is this word? But it's right there. It's just a mental shortcut. So rules of thumb, educated guesses, but the problem with heuristics is they're not rational due to the need or desire for quick decision making, okay? So with that, one example that I have is, let's say, educated guess would be like, 1 apple a day keeps the doctor away, right? Well, does it really? If I eat an apple every single day, is that going to guarantee that I'm going to be healthy, 100% healthy? Probably not, right? We're going to have to put other things into place to make sure we're healthy. And then biases are results from overdependence on heuristic techniques, which means we believe that because something has worked in the past, it will work again and again and again, okay? An example I have of this is, it's about 7 or 8 years ago now. I remember we were in the housing market because my mother was looking for a home, right? And we found this really nice man that was able to help us. He was in the real estate business for a long time. And he was able to work with the needs of my mom and what she was looking for in a home perfectly. It all worked out 100%. We bought the home. My mom still lives in the home, so perfect, right? Now, fast forward to 2021, last year, when I was in the housing market to buy a home, I automatically just went with him. Why? Because it worked, right? He made it happen. We got the home. But long story short, our relationship didn't end up working because of the new needs that I had, right? Wanting to be able to send things electronically, wanting to sign papers electronically. And that's not necessarily a bad thing if he wants to do those things that way. It's just that for me, that was one of the important factors, is being able to do things, electronically and quickly and things like that. But that was my bias, because because it had worked in the past. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to work. Everything's going to be just fine. But there's a problem when we forget we have a bias. So the next few slides, we're going to talk about the different types of biases that we may have. I encourage you to keep an open mind and really think about this. Is this a bias that I may have when it comes to money or to my finances, right? Let's see. Okay, availability bias. So this is weight placed on information that's readily available or easy to understand. What does that mean? It means, for example, if my mom told me, hey, our friends are all in debt because of credit cards, right? That information was easily available. It's coming from a trusted source, right? My mother. And now, because I have this information in my brain, anytime I hear the word credit card, I'm going to panic and be, I don't think that's a good idea. Everyone we know is in debt because of credit card. But is that really true? Or is it their behaviors or their attitudes that they had with these credit cards, right? So the other example we have here is, again, going back to information that's readily available, is this sweet little old lady. She was interviewed, and they asked her, what's the secret to a long life? And she said, drinking 3 Dr. Peppers a day. So in reality, if I was to drink 3 Dr. Peppers a day, I don't know if I'd be able to make it to 104, but also realistically, if I'm going through my social media and I saw this information and now I have that connection, right? Anytime we're going to the doctor, or anytime we're talking about living a long life, I'm probably going to recall this sweet little lady saying, hey, drink 3 Dr. Peppers a day, because the information was easily and readily available for me to understand. So an example of that would be, again, going back to the information that I said about credit cards. If I'm remembering something that a trusted source, or that somebody that I have a really good connection or relationship with tells me, I'm going to recall that information and put a lot of weight on that information versus new information that's available to me, okay? So be mindful of that. Let's move on to confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a tendency to look for or interpret information in a way that confirms what we already think, okay? So what would that mean? That means, let's say, my father said that real estate is 100% guaranteed. If I invest in real estate, it's going to 100% guarantee that I am going to get wealthy, right? Or that I am going to be financially successful. Well, if I have another person come to me and tell me, well, yeah, that's true, but investing is also going to, investing in the market, whether that's in stocks and bonds, it's also going to create weight. And then I automatically go to Google and say, okay, what is going to create the most wealth for me? Most likely, I am going to click on the article that says real estate, right? Versus anything else. Why? Because Google is confirming what I believed, meaning investing in real estate was automatically going to be 100% guaranteed to make me money. I'm not necessarily going to go outside of what I already think or believe when it comes to finances that contradict what I already believe, okay? What are some confirmation biases that you guys may have? That's okay. I'll give you one more. So another one would be, so for example, Dave Ramsey, right? He is a very big financial speaker, right? If anybody says, or if somebody says, Dave Ramsey says credit cards are evil, right? If we have that information, we're going to believe that information, and we're going to, any new information that comes to us about credit cards, we're probably going to discontinue that information, because we already know that Dave Ramsey says, hey, credit cards are evil, don't use it, right? But that's where, again, going back to, it's a problem when we forget we have these biases with finances because we're not being open-minded. Okay, so be mindful of those. The next one we have is familiarity bias. So this one is the tendency to give authority and weight to that which prior personal experience or contact exists. So what does that mean? That means growing up, right? This nice leather chair was the chair that was in every, business office. It was really good for long hours. It was comfortable. This was the go-to chair for offices, right? And then in 1993, Herman Miller came out with this new chair, right? This black one right here. And it took us a little bit to accept because it wasn't familiar to us, right? We're like, oh, I don't know if that's something we can have in an office. Does it look professional? Is it something that kids should probably use? Or, what the deal is with this. But it wasn't until it was proven that this chair, after numerous studies, was actually better because it offered lumbar support, neck support, feet support, right? But again, because we had experience with this chair, with this nice leather chair, it took us a while to accept this new chair, right? That's what we mean by familiarity bias. What are some examples when it comes to finances of some familiarity biases that you guys may have? Shopping at stores. Oh, that was too quick. Investing in the company you work for. Yeah. Brittany, can you read that one I missed, please?
Yes, for sure. It says shopping at stores that we are familiar with, even though prices may be cheaper somewhere else. That's
100%. Yes. Yeah. We've always gone to Harmon's. So even if we know that there's other stores that may offer cheaper groceries, we're just going to continue going to Harmon's, right? Yeah.
There's a couple other ones. Taking financial advice from someone you know instead of an expert. Yeah, that's a good
Exactly. That's a good one.
Another one is took me a long time to feel comfortable investing in the market because I didn't really understand it. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes it's not necessarily the lack of knowledge that we may have, but knowledge that's available to us, right? Sometimes there isn't a lot of information that's available to us on a certain subject until we do the research. We invest the time to learning about investing, right? Absolutely.
And the last one is staying with the same insurance company because it's easy. I am in the same boat currently.
Yes. Okay. So I knew as soon as I started this presentation that you guys were very, very smart folks. And you guys even got some of the examples that I have here myself. So yeah, investing, and yeah, I don't think we're shopping around for insurance because the company or the policy that I have is 100% the best and it's saving me the most money. So there is no need to do additional research. The one with the real estate agent, Dave Ramsey. Yeah. This is another good one is, I drive by that bank every day. It seems like the best choice, right? Because of proximity, because of how close it is. This one actually happened to me when I was, fresh out of high school. I was barely starting to get an account, right? With, I remember we went with Zions because Zions was literally up the street from our house. So it had to be the best bank, right? Because it was up the street from my house. I didn't have to drive so long to, make any type of deposit or transaction. Long story short, I had to end my relationship with Zions because of some of the fees that were associated. but I was able to make the best choice for me, right? Based on my needs and things that I was looking for in a checking account. So it's very important that you don't, or that you're mindful of the weight that you put on prior experience versus the weight that you put on making the best choice. What does that mean? That means that we're going to have to take time and really do the research. Take time to invest in learning what the best choice really is for you, because what works for you may not work for me or may not work for Brittany, right? Which is why each and every one of us has to do the research to understand what best fits our finances, okay? All right, the last one is overconfidence and excessive optimism. So who's seen Napoleon Dynamite? Yeah. What did Uncle say? What did he say? Yes, yes, yes. So he said, you know, if coach would have put me in the game, we would have won. And he was living in the past, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's that tendency to blame negative outcomes on uncontrollable circumstances and take credit for positive ones, or fading effect bias, emotional response prompted by positive memories. What does that mean, right? So that means I'm probably not going to remember all the raffles I've put my name in, right? Because there's been plenty. But I'm going to remember the raffles that I put my name on and I won. Why? Positive outcome, 100%. Yes, because it was that positive outcome, right? That released those hormones in my brain that created that positive memory that I'm going to now be able to recall. Oh, yeah, I remember I entered a Starbucks raffle and I won that $10 gift card, right? I'm going to remember the specifics of it because it created that positive memory, okay? So another example of this, I'm not sure how many of you like to gamble, but let's say you are gambling, you are most likely going to remember the time that you won $100, right? Or that you won any amount versus all the times that you've lost money, right? Why? Because of overconfidence and excessive optimism. We're going to remember those situations that bring positive outcomes, okay? So again, that going back to our examples, financial examples, one of the, or another example that I may have is, hey, I'm going to live for a long time. I am not going to look into estate or will planning or anything like that because I'm 29. I still have a long time before I die, right? That is overconfidence and excessive optimism. Going back to the examples that you guys said of emergencies, right? Sicknesses, illnesses, all of that can get in the way of my very long life, right? So we have to be able to prepare for those types of situations as well as plan. Okay. Let's go into values alignment. In this section, we're going to talk about why it's important to start with our values versus starting automatically with drafting our goals. So let's look at another video real quick. Can you guys hear that?
Society tells us the way to be happy is to achieve our goals. Get that great job, earn that money, get a good body, find a partner, have happy, healthy kids, have a big house, have a nice car, have holidays. Goal, 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 goal. And it's true that if you do actually manage to achieve these goals, then there is a little moment of joy and happiness. But how long does it last? How long before you're looking at the next goal, and then the next goal, and then the next goal? And as we live our life trying to constantly strive to achieve these goals, one after the other, how tiring and exhausting does it get? Is this you? there is a radically different way to live your life, which is a life based on values, a values-focused life. It's like two kids in the back of a car, and it's a 3-hour car journey to Disneyland. And the first kid is totally goal-focused. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? How much longer? Are we there yet? This journey of frustration, it's all about the goal. The second kid is values-focused. He's got the same goal. He wants to get to Disneyland, but he's also in touch with his values around curiosity, adventure, having fun. So he's looking out of the window, playing I Spy with My Little Eye. He's counting all the, the interesting farmhouses that he sees on the way. He's spotting interesting farm animals, cows and sheep. He's noticing different types of trucks and cars on the freeway. So he's actually appreciating the journey as he heads towards his goal. Now, they both reach Disneyland at the same time. They both have a fantastic time at Disneyland because they both got to achieve the goal. But the first kid had a journey of frustration. The second kid had a fulfilling, rewarding journey. Then on the way home, the first kid, are we home yet? Are we home yet? Are we home yet? All about the goal, all that frustration. Second kid's looking out of the window, noticing how the world looks different at night, spotting the lights in the farmhouses and the cat's eyes on the freeway. The car breaks down on the way to Disneyland. Now, both kids are really disappointed because neither of them achieved their goal. But the second kid at least had a fulfilling journey up until that point. Now, when the pickup truck arrives to tow them home, the first kid, oh, it's not fair. I want to go to Disneyland. How long before the car gets repaired? It's not fair. It's not fair. The second kid starts to notice how the world looks different when you're sitting in the front of a pickup truck high above the level of the rest of the traffic. So this is the very important distinction between the values-focused life and the goal-focused life. In the values-focused life, we have the fulfillment and satisfaction of living our values every step of the way towards our goals, the satisfaction of achieving our goals, and the fulfillment that comes of living our values even when we don't achieve our goals.
Yes. All right, friends. Why is it important to start with our values?
Well, I think it gives us a different perspective throughout the journey, right? That we're able to incorporate more of the vision that we have rather than just, oh, this is the goal and it's whether or not I achieve it, it's all or nothing, right? Instead of saying, you know what, I made some really great progress. I noticed some new things about myself and my finances rather than, all or nothing. We have a couple in the chat as well.
Okay.
Someone said more fulfilled life. And then another one said, like with education, the time will pass. You can either pass the time and get a degree or not. Great point.
Yes. Very good point.
Another one is live in the moment, appreciating what you have.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing those. So on this next slide, we have a lot of different values, right? What do you value? I invite you to take just a minute or two to write down at least one value that you may have as we go through this next quick exercise. Just one value that you may have. I'll give you like 30 seconds. Financial success, family. Yes, yes, yes. Very, very good ones. Outdoors. Yeah, I need to implement more outdoors. Health. Yes. Very, very critical, right? Especially during this time. Absolutely. So with our values, we're going to go through a quick exercise, okay? Which is the value alignment. We're going to start with our value. From our value, draft goals. From our goals, we're going to draft certain action behaviors that we are going to do to achieve said goal, okay? These are going to, again, be financial behaviors that we are going to do differently to achieve our goals that are tied to our values, okay? So let's go through an example of what that would look like. So this individual values family, and I know somebody said family in the chat, so this is a good one. Family. So from family, from his value, he's going to then draft a few goals. He wants to buy school clothes for his children. He wants to buy a home for his family, and then also go on a vacation. I know me and my family are big on vacations, right? At least once a year, we have to get out of Utah. And what then is the next step? The next step is to create financial behaviors that are going to be different, or action items that are going to help him achieve, his financial dreams by setting these goals that tie to his values. So he is going to save, $100 a month. Another action item he's going to do is shop at Savers or any other discount store, right? Ross, Burlington. I remember I was practicing this presentation with my son, and I was mentioning the discount stores, and he said, "Oh wait, Mom, don't forget Burlington." So that's why I said Burlington. So yes, Burlington, Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, right? He's going to shop at those discount stores. And then for his vacation, he's going to get a travel rewards credit card, right? Being mindful that he's going to charge this credit card, but then also have money in his checking or savings account, right? To create that healthy habit of paying it off while reaping all of those travel rewards. I actually have a friend that uses, she uses a cashback rewards credit card, and every quarter, based on her usage and her, paying it off, every quarter she gets a $500 deposit, and she's able to use that deposit to pay for her and her husband's plane tickets. So I'm like, that's awesome. I need to start doing that, because plane tickets could, be a little bit expensive. So some things that you also want to consider that would align with your financial behaviors, and this one's a big one, is, do I really want to eat out to every meal, right? Do I want to eat out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is that a healthy habit? Is that a habit that is going to help me achieve my financial dreams? Is that a habit that is going to be a threat or a reward to my financial dreams, right? So be mindful of that. So this is one example of the alignment model that you can use, or we have this, divided into different sections as well, which is, again, identifying your principles, values, or beliefs first. Then from there, drafting your goals, your purpose, your wants. Again, going back to that comment that there is a difference between wants and needs, right? Sometimes we may have a difficult time determining if something is a want or a need. And then behavior, the emotions or the actions that we are going to do to achieve our goals that will help us, again, achieve or align with our values. This is a source from Doug Lennox. He is the author of Financial Intelligence. That's a really good financial read if you guys are looking for a good book. This alignment model will help us do things on purpose and for a purpose, okay? For time's sake, I'll just go through one more quick example. For example, this individual values security, okay? He is wanting to have 3 months of savings in 2 years, and he's going to achieve this by saving $500 a month. But how is he going to save those $500 a month? By putting certain action items into place. He's going to do a weekly budget review with his partner. He is going to set up automatic transfers to monthly payments. He's going to make automatic transfers to secondary savings accounts. That's a really big one. I like that one a lot, because here at Mountain America, and I'm sure your financial institution may offer this as well, is we have the ability to set up as many secondary savings account as we wish. and name it or call it a specific thing. So me and my family, like I said, we're big on vacationing, right? But we've never been to Disneyland. So what we are planning is we're planning a Disneyland trip in 2023, so next year. So what we've started doing is we created a secondary savings account, and I have a big family. I'm the oldest of 6. So us 6 plus our significant others plus our partners, it adds up, right? So we started with secondary savings account, and we just named it Disneyland 2023, and we have automatic savings or automatic transfers going into this savings account. So when that time comes that we're ready to take our trip, it's all budgeted for, right? It's going to be easier. It's going to give us peace of mind that we're able to nicely and comfortably take this vacation, right? Anybody else willing to share a value real quick before I move on? Okay, no worries. Let's go to our last section. Our last section that we have is emotional control. So what do I do that moment that I see that email or that sale or that, that urge of wanting to buy something? We use the STOP acronym, okay? Slow your breathing. Anchor in the past by monitoring a few deep breaths, okay? Take note. Take note of your thoughts. What are you thinking? Why are you thinking? Feelings. What are you feeling? What are you physically feeling, right? If I have a big migraine and I've just had a really rough day, do I really want to make a big financial decision in that state of mind or that physical state? Probably not, right? Actions. Have I been in this similar situation in the past? This is a big one because I've had a lot of people tell me, hey, I run into this, emotional crisis or emotional control crisis when it comes to my finances. When I see that something is on sale and I just automatically go buy it and then I feel guilty. Who has experienced that, right? I know I have, yes. Yeah, you feel guilty. Why? Why do you think you feel that way?
Buyer's remorse.
Yes.
Every
Right
time
on.
it was on a sale, but the sale wasn't really that great, so it didn't end
The
up saving
sale
money.
wasn't a sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, right on. Thank you. That is exactly why you lost control of your emotions. Yes. Yeah, that happens a lot more often than we wish it would, right? But again, we're able to change our attitudes, or it has more weight to change our attitudes versus changing our actions. What that means is if my attitude is I want to buy this, right? I want to buy this item. My behavior is going to be I'm going to save. I'm going to include this in my spending plan or my budget. And then when I'm ready to make this purchase, I'm going to feel so much better because it's my hard work paying off, because it's hard work, saving and, oh, I wish I would have eaten out this weekend, but instead I saved that money to purchase, I don't know, the next car I want to purchase, right? You're going to make that purchase with a lot more happiness. And then O is for open up. Give room for your thoughts and feelings to exist. It's okay to feel, frustrated, that instead of making that purchase, you have to, suck it up and hold on because you're not necessarily financially prepared for it. And then the last one, P, pursue your values. Connect with your values and pursue course of action. Is this purchase that I'm going to make for Bath and Body Works, is that aligning with my values to take my family vacation for Disneyland in 2023? If I don't have enough money to make that purchase and I'm having to dip into that Disneyland savings, is this aligned? Does this align with my values? Right? Think about that. Take a moment to really think about if your purchase aligns with your values. Okay. last thing we have before I wrap up is a few action items, okay? Please take the time to identify and you record your life values. It's very important that we start with values. From our values, we're going to clarify our goals. Include last possible timing. This one's a really good one. So let's say I'm fresh out of college, I'm fresh out of high school. I'm going to start college in the summer. And one of the goals I have is to purchase a car, right? I would like to have my car maybe a few months before I begin college, right? So I'm going to say I want to have my car by April, right? And then the last possible timing, meaning the last time, kind of like the drop dead deadline is by May when I start college, because I'm going to need to get from point A to point B, right? So include last possible timing on that. And then be sure to identify if you have certain biases, right? Being able to overcome that and change our perception on our finances is going to be huge. Lastly, last tool we have is practice the values alignment. Again, starting with values, goals, and then financial behaviors. And then if you do have or come across a situation where you're having a crisis, or you're like, oh, I don't know what to do, take time to practice the Stop acronym and slow your breathing. Take time to really think about, again, with our rational brain versus our emotional brain. Some of the sources we used in my presentation are from, like I said, Doug Lennox. He is the author of Financial Intelligence. Richard Peterson is also a very good one. He is the author of the Inside the Investor Brain. And then lastly, that last video was with Russ Harris. He is the author of The Happiness Trap. So I encourage you guys to read any of those financial resources that we have. They are very, very good books as well. And then lastly, thank you so much for being a super awesome audience with me. And the other two things that I have, I apologize. The other two things that I have is two quick plugs. We do have a online library on macu.com/bonsai that has a lot of content. It has coaching content. It has like calculators to calculate your next payment on a car or a mortgage. It has articles on retirement, saving, anything financial you will find there. And then the last thing is Mountain America offers complimentary one-on-one financial coaching. You do not have to be a member of Mountain America to benefit from these coachings. If you are interested, I encourage you to please reach out to Brittany or Sadie, and she would be happy to forward your information over to me. Okay, I will stick around for any questions or anything that you guys may have. Okay, thank you so much again, and I hope you learn at least one thing from this. Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so, so much. What a wonderful presentation. And I love that, there's so many different parts to money in the brain, right? That no one necessarily thinks about. And I love, love, love that you were able to break that down for us. Thank you so, so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Again, you guys have my email. Please feel free to reach out at any time that you guys would like with any questions. And thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a blessed new year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to our participants, our next workshop will be on Thursday. It will be with Optum, and they will teach us how to maximize our HSA accounts. So I put the link in the chat box. I'll put it again since we have some thank yous.
Yeah.
So you can learn how to register. Thank you so much, Talia.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, actually, Talia. Oh, I was going to let her know that we ended up having I saw the most 70 participants.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great. I think I saw 73, actually.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. We'll talk to you in a second.
Thanks. Bye.
And you get credit. We have some questions in the chat box about credit. There is no survey link, so WebEx has made it easy for us. We created an event, so by signing in today, that was the way that you received points. So we'll put that on your Well Steps account. Have a great day, everybody.